evening. I'd like to call this order to the meeting order. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that compliance with chapter 231 of the Public Law 1975 entitled Open Public Meetings Act. Hardyston Township Board of Education posted a meeting notice setting forth time, date, and location of this meeting at the office of the Hardyston Township Board of Education and on the district website, and mailed to the New Jersey Herald and to the office of the municipal clerk of Hardyston Township. The Hardyston Board of Education followed the guidance from the CDC and the Department of Health for correct uses of masks, for proper coverage, and social distancing whenever possible. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Donna?
Present.
Jen is absent. Nick? Here. Brian?
Here.
Myself, Ron Hoffman. Susan, the really sick. Catherine and Michelle both are out. And Dave, present. And Mr. Light is here, and Renee is here. We do have a quorum. Okay, update to the workshop. Mr. Renee?
Yep, there are two updates to tonight's agenda. We got P10, which is retirement, and we have P11, which is information for girls that have the effective massive.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports. Curriculum, Don?
Can you hear me? I had a meeting, original meeting last Tuesday, October 3rd. Items on the agenda, 61, motion for the resolution travel event. City to resolve and approve the following class trip, which is great, it's our first trip back, experience to go on a trip to National Forest and Garden. CP3 motion to accept additional federal event funding for the APO, AARP, IDA program for the upcoming fiscal year. Also motion to approve district budget plan 2021. Motion to approve the virtual and remote instruction plan, which is attached to the agenda. Also, C6 motion to approve food services biosecurity management, and that was also distributed. Mr. Mayor, I'll read the resolution second paragraph. Hardyston Bay, website updates, and the meeting, and the relation to the curriculum on the website. And that's a good report. Structural assessment was completed on line 27, to be accomplishment. Showing severity, share that we got. We have us, later in the 6th report. Also talk about Big Sisters, Brother Big Sisters program. And data collection update on Smart 360, 15 and one next
facility operations request from Girl Scout Troop 7684. In addition to those motions, we have spoke about van administration, stayed at the cafeteria account, 2 snow blowers that they were purchased to help them facilitate moving snow further away from the school. We got 3 quotes for fuel value ACS control panel on this boiler room. 10,458 is the lowest. That's so that they can balance out the boiler's usage better than right now. One boiler uses more oil than the others, so that it allows balance out. We also spoke about PSA is looking into any incentives or savings that the district can receive from the higher efficiency boilers. In the walkthrough last month, they pointed out ceiling issues in the all-purpose rooms as the entrance way. Both of the all-purpose rooms exceeded the available allowance for the project, but the front exterior soffit placement was within allowance. Rich said an email asking if the board would be interested in engaging in this small project. So, if there's any questions about the potential elementary school projects for 21-22, the water catch basin, left will upgrade water hookup paving. I guess we'll ask for business. My next meeting is November 4th.
Thank you. Okay, personnel, Nick. Okay,
It's not in attendance.
okay, well, I mean,
You would like to do it, somebody else would do it.
okay, doing personnel meeting, let's see. Okay, we approve substitutes, resolve that, a medical leave of absence. Also, following to hire and employ paraprofessionals. As every school around is looking more and more for paraprofessionals. Motion for social worker. Letter of resignation. Motion to approve a change on the salary guide. And motion to approve staff members as miscellaneous non-certified help. Also a long-term teacher approval. And part-time approval for a custodian at the elementary school. Coming in with experience from another school area. And primarily, that was it, except for the positions on the addendum. Another retirement letter. And approve movement on salary guide for another person. Okay? That's it on that one. And the joint education services.
We did not.
Okay, great. Okay. Since I moved all the papers around, let me find out my presidency report. Okay. My report, we are off to a great start this school year, even though our CDC guidelines have been altered again. Speaking to Dr. Gail Carrick, New Jersey Department of Education, Sussex County Interim Executive County Superintendent, she congratulates Sussex County Schools for being in school the longest out of all counties due to our proficiency following the CDC guidelines. I have been appointed the alternate director of Sussex County New Jersey School Boards Association on October 1st. I've also taken instruction course on a new platform named Board Docs, which is being being used by many organizations to file agendas, minutes, and maintain library-type information. The 2021 workshop was discussed, showing improvements in the online presentations, noting that Senator Orville will be a panelist during the legislative session at the workshop on Wednesday, 10/27 at 1 p.m. The 2022 workshop will be in person and being planned already at this time. There were legislation updates on two bills, the Aging Out Bill and amendments to Chapter 44, and the impact that school districts should be negotiated to help mitigate their losses. New Jersey School Board Association staff met with Senator Ruiz and Sweetie to discuss how such districts are spending the ESSA funds, the COVID funds. The state administration has no intent or no appetite to discuss a school virtual option at this time. No changes are expected until after the election. The update to the school board's rolling achievement recognition, instead of once a year, it will be handled as it is received. On October 6th, we had a New Jersey School Board County meeting. I attended in person, and I'm pleased to say two brothers and board members also attended as a hybrid attendee. Please try to attend these meetings and keep up on changing laws and updates. As always, there were many topics covered by Dr. Crenshaw, Executive Director. Article in the NewJersey.com asks parents to please be civil at board meetings, stating that the public discourse has coarsened and the number of bad-tempered people has increased. We must also remember that our children are watching us and learning from every move that we make. New Jersey has a public education system that's the envy of most states. In the governor relation update, items such as graduation assessments, general fund allotments for infrastructure reduction and credits for teacher certification, they were reduced from 60 to 30. Age discrimination bills were discussed. Nurses' availabilities changed. Discussion on bus drivers, student newspaper. We're trying to ensure that the students still have the oversight of the administration watching on them. A cost reduction, vaccine mandates were not discussed by teachers and students. It is something that's left to our superintendent and the staff. On December 10th, the school board seminar of the 3 R's for a board member. And it's a very great seminar for new members. Kathy Hallowell discussed that 3 boards are having strategic planning in Sussex County, Byron, Leonard B. Valley, and ourselves here at Hardyston. Then our law firm, Partner, Shank, Price, and Smith, had Catherine Gillibrand discuss masks, concerns, public comments, and ways to diffuse irate attendees. Most of her suggestions have already been put in place months ago here in Hardyston due to our weekly president and superintendent meetings and our discussions on our agendas and the possibility of reenactment of irate attendees in person or remote during our meetings. And that is my report for the month. And right now, our CSA.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hoffman. All right, I have 2 items that I'm going to talk about. One is the CSA report, and the next is the district goals update. So for the CSA report, when I remark on the Columbus Day in service that we held on Monday, students were off, but all teachers and administration had to come to school. We were jam-packed for the day with lots of professional development opportunities. For language arts, we had school-wide, which is a language arts program, come in and do trainers on Reader's Workshop. For math, we had our publisher Into Math, that's what's called training on growth and progress assessments for our teachers. We also sent our assigned arts teachers and physical education teachers to Frankfurt School, and they held a big professional development in those areas, which was great. Our preschool did a creative curriculum training, which is also the name of the program that we use here, creative curriculum. Our language arts and math interventionists in both buildings did a data analysis with each other, which means understanding all the data, all the scores that we have for children, and figuring out what students' strengths and weaknesses are so we can try to close gaps and help everybody individually. We had one of our media specialists take a course on digital citizenship, and we had various special education program trainings as well. So it was jam-packed. Next topic is vaccination and testing among school staff members. So one of the executive orders that's new this fall is that all school staff must be vaccinated by October 18th or submit weekly test results. So starting on October 19th, unvaccinated staff will be offered saliva testing, facilitated in the nurse's office, stored in a lockbox, and then picked up every Tuesday afternoon, with test results arriving every Thursday. A company called LabQ will handle all testing and reporting requirements. This will come at no cost to staff members and no cost to the district. It's being handled through insurance and CARES Act funds to the federal government. So that's good news. Strategic planning. Hopefully you read one of the flyers up there, because strategic planning, last time we did it, I believe it was 5 years ago during my first year at CSA, and it takes place right here in the middle school cafeteria. And what we do is we gather as many people from around Hardyston Township as we can, and over 3 nights or 3 months, we talk about our strengths, our weaknesses, where we want our taxpayer money to go, what programs we like, what we don't like, and what direction we'd like to see our school district going. And then every year following that, we have district goals that are supposed to tail back to the overall strategic plan. So every year you can make progress and report on how we're doing so far. So far, we've been in the newspaper promoting strategic planning. On September 25th, I went to Hardyston Day, had a table and talked to a lot of people that day to, kind of promote what we're trying to do here. And we worked with the township right next door to us, and we were able to do almost 3,000 direct mailings to all Hardyston Township residents, not just parents or students, but all residents, because it's all of our money, so it's all of our care, and it's all of our desires that we're trying to understand. As Don reported, and Sarah reported, we did do Start Strong state testing. We did it a couple of weeks ago, and we tested all 4th through 8th grade students in language arts and math. And in addition, we tested all 6th grade students in science. This is a state assessment. Individual student reports are already back, and we're starting to look at those, start to see what it all means, where are our students, and how has the pandemic affected them, and what do they need to go forward. And it was our first time state testing in 3 years, so it was kind of a big deal. And it was well done. I'm happy that we completed it. And my last topic here is student recognition. For those of you that are new to our board meetings, typically what we like to do is monthly have a student of the month, one per grade level, and invite the student along with their families in where we say nice words about them. And we recognize them for all the things that they do. We're going to start that again next month. And so we'll start at the November board meeting. The middle school just completed their first month of Second Step with students, which is a social emotional learning character education program. And what we're going to do is each month we're going to review Second Step and come up with a character trait that we're all learning together in both schools. And then we're going to tie it in so that when we speak at board meetings, we're all talking about the same language and the same attributes that we're trying to instill in our students. So that's my CSA report. The next is I want to give an update on our district goals so far. Historically, over the past few years, I give this first update in November, and this year I'm going to try pushing it up a month. I think I give 4 reports throughout the year, so that just so that we get information earlier. So the first goal is Hardyston will continue to collaborate with the schools in our region to align our use of student data in order to further enhance our curricular programs, broaden our professional development, and enhance student achievement at Hardyston. What does that mean? It means that Hardyston works with the Walker Valley regional schools. We work with the high school, we work with Ogdensburg, Hamburg, and Franklin. We pool our resources to the greatest extent possible to come up with cost-effective ways so that we can educate our staff and help build achievement for all of our students. We do this in a variety of ways. So far as the regional superintendents have met twice, once in July and once in October, and we've already come up with a game plan to next September of 2022, all New Jersey school districts have to adopt new curriculum in the state and incorporate new state standards in a variety of subjects. So what we're doing on the curriculum side of things is that as a region, we're all taking a piece of it, collaborating together, and coming up with a common curriculum that will, all we would have to replace is the specific programs that we use in each of the districts, which is all a little different, but we're all incorporating the same standards. So the idea is to share the burden of updating the standards to make sure that we're all doing it and that we're all in sync with each other. Goal number 2 is Hardyston will expand district communications to inform and engage families and stakeholders in order to build better family-school relationships to allow Hardyston students to succeed on the highest level. What we're starting to do is, there's been a lot of talk over the past couple of years is to really make our website very, very user-friendly. Start to put on there all the new programs and assessments and great things that we're doing in Hardyston, and start showcasing that to the community. And start highlighting it so that parents and any parent or any family moving into Hardyston, say they're not in Hardyston yet, they can go to our website and really, really get a good picture, a good clear picture of what we're all about and have confidence of what to move into Hardyston Township. That's the goal. I don't believe our current website reflects all the great stuff that we're doing in schools. So the point this year is to do a better job making the outside reflect what's happening on the inside. So we've already held a few meetings with administration and some key players around the district as far as analyzing the website, what's good, what's bad, and we've also made a list of all the inconsistencies that we're seeing on the website so far. And lots more to come, but it's a good start. It's a good start so far. Goal number 3 is Hardyston will develop and implement an RTI model focused on math intervention for all learners. RTI is response to intervention. All it means is that if you recognize a student who is struggling in a subject, it's identifying what specifically are they struggling in, and what programs do we have in place to help that specific individual raise achievement. So we've done a great job over the past few years focusing on language arts. Now we're turning our attention to math. And so far, we have created a math coach interventionist position. We've done that. We've, let's see here. We're also creating a process to identify students in need of math intervention. We've hired a professional development consultant who specializes, well, we haven't hired, we've outsourced professional development with a math specialist to coach our teachers on how to recognize, identify, and give students what they need in the math setting. I've met with a parent who is a high-level math teacher in another district, who gave lots of remarks and ideas for establishing a math competition club in Hardyston districts. And I've advertised and posted for that position in-house so we can get a math club advisor and start building a stronger math culture within our district. So more to come there. And last but not least, goal number 4, Hardyston will establish programs for student wellness in each school to provide social and emotional support for all students. There's a lot to this goal, but the first thing that we can check off the list is that our SR2 grant application was approved, and we made an expenditure list, which is this is a couple hundred, that's $200,000, where we can really focus our attention on learning acceleration, mental health, well-being, and building improvement. So in this goal, we are going to use some of these funds to address student wellness. And one thing that we're evaluating is a social emotional learning evaluation intervention program at both schools. So not only do we evaluate what's happening in language arts and math, but also a little bit more of the softer skills, the inside part that we don't always see as teachers and educators. You know, how's the student doing? How has the pandemic affected them? How are they feeling on the inside? Do students need more help than what we're offering? This is the goal number 4, and we're making progress. In 2 more months, I'll give another update, and we'll go forward from there. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is public comment for agenda items only. But I have to repeat something that I did on the call to order. I know it's not a comfortable item, but I have to adhere to the CDC guidelines for mask usage in school buildings. Everybody is supposed to have a mask. I know everybody out there is social distancing properly, no problem. But I can't put it on my agenda and say that everybody has to have masks, and all of a sudden ignore the fact that 2 people don't have masks. So please, if you have masks, put them on. I don't have any up here, but at this point, again, public comment for board members to listen to your concerns of the public and to take those concerns under advisement and to be discussed during our committee meetings. Please note that the board appreciates any and all comments and may welcome the participation. Any public comment at this time? Okay.
We have a microphone, but you just have to turn it around.
Okay. You have to state your name and address.
My name is Savas Davidas. I'm from Hardyston Township, in the Beaver Lake area. Couple things. First thing, as far as the testing goes, that sounds great to me, but we need to include what has happened with the Common Core. Look back as to whether or not Common Core has helped us or hurt us. Just like we have to look at whether the COVID situation has helped us or hurt us. As far as the new software on the website, you got to be congratulated for that. That's a huge upgrade. and it will be important for people to be able to see what is in the curriculum and what is happening. RTI for math, we need engineers, and it's really important that we get engineers, and math will help that. As far as student wellness, the masks, the vaccines have not proven effective. What's proven effective is people being healthy. If you have sick people in the society, more people are susceptible to damage from the virus and are going to die from the virus. Look at the statistics of who's dying from the virus. It's people that aren't healthy. So if we also teach healthiness, what is healthy in the schools and what is wellness, it's going to be an important step to fighting this battle. We need to look at where the money comes from. Who owns Lab Q? They're being promoted throughout the state to do all of this testing. They're being paid a ton of money. Yes, it's quote unquote our money, not our money. It's the state's money. But the last time I checked, I paid into the state too. I didn't just pay into you guys. So we need to follow the money and follow who LabCorp is. As far as the new state standards, I'm not really sure what you're talking about as far as the new state standards. However, in the 251, Section E, it specifically states that masks do not have to be used for tasks that cannot be completed with wearing a mask. And what I'm going to tell you now, all of you guys are doing different than me. I'm communicating. When I saw you guys communicating, you pulled down your masks to communicate. The fundamental purpose of school is to communicate ideas from the teacher to the student, and then to the teacher to look at the student and communicate back. Communication is not just verbal, it is visual. 90% of all communication is actually visual. It is not verbal. So when you put the mask on someone, you are taking all of the cues of communication away. All of the things that the students need to learn are being hidden from them. The other thing is, when you look at 251 and you look at 253, what I mentioned was Section E. 253, which quote unquote overrides 251, only changes A through C. It does not affect E, and E is the ability to communicate. And I do not believe that there's any way on this earth you can teach kids communications and keep their masks on. The next thing we need to look at is fundamentally, how awful is this virus for kids? You get these reports from the New York Times that say 900,000 people, 900,000 kids were affected by this virus, and then 3 days later, they pull it down to 50,000. Why is that? Because the media is trying to scare the living crap out of everybody. Sure, this is an evil virus. Sure, it is dangerous. We need to get vaccines, but more important than that, somebody like me, I went through the virus. Now, I will tell you this, and you may not believe me, but my immunity almost exclusively prevents me from getting this virus in the future, and all of the other variants of it. And the reason why is because only 2 spike proteins are being addressed with the vaccine. When I got it, all the spike proteins were addressed and the virus itself. Therefore, my contagion level is much less. And for me to be told that I have to do things in addition to what I've already gone through isn't practical. If you look at the statistics of who's going into the hospitals, they say, oh, 10%, 30% of the people are unvaccinated, which means that 87% of the people going into the hospital now are vaccinated. The vaccines are very important, but they're not working. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, there's, yes. Get the microphone. Name and address, please.
My name is Erin Kopp, and I live in Stockholm. And I'm here to speak for the children who cannot speak for themselves because our tyrannical governor is making us put masks on them in school. And like he said, communication is key. These children are not affected. Their survival rate is 99.98%. Did we do it for the flu? Did we shut down school for the flu? No. Viruses are always around. They need a healthy immune system, and our health department, right over there, is not telling you, just reinforce to the children, have a healthy immune system, get exercise, get fresh air, eat, get your vitamins. Why are they telling us we have to take a vaccine that's never been approved? It's like they're using our children. So I love the board and everybody else to think about it and stand up to the government and say, this is ridiculous. Why are you using our children? They need to be with normal lives. The suicide rate has gone up 600% in the last year because of that. It's crazy. Like, why do we need to wear a mask? I had COVID as well. I have an immune system. It's my health, my body, my choice. But the children don't need to be going through this. So I'm just trying to speak up with this.
Okay, thank you. Okay. At this point, anyone else? Not? There's no executive session at this time. We will move to old business. Meeting dates for 2021, 2022. November 9th, regular meeting. December 14th, regular meeting. January 4th, reorganization, regular meeting. January 25th, budget workshop. And that brings us to, yes,
One is we discussed about the closing of the road project. Josh was here last week, what was the building. We looked at the ceiling, we looked at the ceiling, the all-purpose room, and we looked at the ceiling, sockets about the front. Brett Stockton said that the all-purpose room would cost more than the money available for the project. Sorry, the sockets. And the sockets in the elementary school are available for in the excess available funds. So I wanted to get feelings from the board if that's something to go forward with. Close out the road project, or is that helps? Is the board recommending the budget back for the excess money? The money that was budgeted for the road project, we did not control it. Okay. So we budgeted the money allocated, but we did not spend it all. There's other projects. Right for that, and the signs that go from you look at it. We did walk this little bit. And I'm trying to and all of the elementary schools, so yes. Then you like the second. The second one is one we've been talking about once. It's the multiple projects for the elementary school, which is the water catch basin, which is basically regrading the parking lots for the water. So we've done this in Portsmouth, regrading it, replacing or hooking up the bulk water in the building because getting some water there. Also, we left discussed this last month. Whatever. That's what we're talking about today. See if the Me as well.
Sure, okay.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
Excuse me one second, can you guys use the microphone? I can't hear a word you say. It is a public meeting, right?
We were talking about the, boiler projects that we did not use up all the money that was planned for, okay? So we came in under budget. Since we are still working with our accountants and our architects, we came up with 2 other projects that need to be addressed. Okay, primarily, as we're doing the work on the drainage, on the electric, on the water and catch basin, and possibly to alleviate the test requirements for the well water that we're testing. We're talking about going on to the Franklin water up to their supply. Okay, so instead of ripping up the driveway 2 or 3 times, we're trying to say, hey, let's put it all together and save money, do it all at once. Okay, and the other, which was, right, that was that's primarily all discussed, that's what we were talking about. So we were looking for the opinion of the board to say, should we go back to our architects and go for bids? And our board said, yes, that is more.
None of these projects are the result of us going back to taxpayers last time. It's already budgeted, but I think that it's already money that we've saved to upgrade our buildings.
Okay. New business. Agenda items. I'd like to make a motion to approve the September 14th regular business meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, Dave, seconds it. Any questions? Okay, roll call. Donna?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah.
Myself? Yes. And Dave? Okay, and now for our HIV report.
Sure, all we're doing tonight is we're not voting on anything, I'm just reporting that there was 1 HIV incident at the middle school. Unfortunately, between two students, one aggressor, 1 victim, and the nature of the incident was physical characteristics, which means somebody was making fun of somebody else based on their physical characteristics, which means the definition of HIV. It was substantiated, and consequences were imposed, and counseling sessions were set up for remediation. After the meeting, the letters will go home to both sets of parents, and then we'll vote on the report next month.
Okay, thank you. Okay, finance, Dave?
Second.
Okay, roll call. Donna?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Myself, yes. And Dave?
Yes.
Okay, personnel.
I'll make a motion to approve P1 for P9, actually P11 with 10 and 11 on the addendum as listed.
resignations due to the vaccine mandates.
Or any of the what, sorry?
Resignations,
No, the one resignation is due to the person moving out of state and the retirements. I don't know what the underlying clauses are. But they have their years in and they're choosing to retire.
Mike, I know the September meeting, just curious, it's not here, the math club advisor, was that voted on in September, or is that something that you're posting internally, or?
I posted internally, but I have not approved anybody yet.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, please call.
Okay. Donna,
yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
myself, yes. And Dave. Curriculum,
Motion to approve CP1 to CP6.
Second.
okay,
Any questions? Roll call,
okay. Donna,
yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
myself, yes. And Dave. Okay. Policy.
Make a motion to approve POL 1 to read for a first reading of the policies as listed on the agenda.
Okay,
I have a second. Second.
okay, thank you.
Questions, comments, discussion?
I have a question.
These are our policy alert. We get that from our provider, what's upcoming and what's state mandated. So we get these reports periodically from, South Esme, or the Virginia school boards, and it tells us what is mandated, what we have to have, what kind of policy. And right now, we're looking for this as the first reading. And so, Donna, you have a question on that?
Yes, I have a question, because four of our members are absent, and policies of this magnitude should be probably approved by the entire board, even if it's a first reading. In addition, the chair was not even present at the meeting to, for this policy first reading. So I would like to table it until next month, if that's acceptable by the state, will be penalized if you don't do that, or just like to ask that question.
I could address the second part of that question, being the chair who's not present at the meeting. This is the first reading, and we approved policies, they've been posted on the agenda since Mike shared them. I reviewed them, I don't have any concerns with them, as most of them are dictated by the state and dictated by executive order. And again, as Mr. Hoffman has said, they're from our organizational body that tells us what recommendations and things we should do. As board members, we can vote them down. As board members, we can vote them up. I don't think, Mr. Reddy, we need a full board to approve policies. We only need a majority of the quorum, which is what's present. So that would be my suggestion. But I'm only one of none.
Okay, well, basic thing is, this is just approving the first reading. And opening it up for discussion. And at this particular point, as I said before, it is mandated that we have these policies in effect. So yes, I'm in favor of approving the first reading. And if someone has any, legit problems or questions, bring them up during the week, or during the month, before we have our committee meeting again, and we discuss at our committee meeting before it goes into the final approval on the second reading. Okay, everybody by default for a vote. There's a motion.
There was a motion and a second, so, you know, and if you wanted to change the motion, somebody would have to make a motion to table it, that would have to be second, voted on. And then pending that, we would vote, right, Reg?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to table is 301.
That's a motion, it needs a second. There's no second.
There's no second.
That's a motion. Okay, Harry, back to the first motion.
Back to the first motion and,
The second.
okay, so Donna,
No.
okay. Nick,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
myself, yes. And Dave.
Yes.
Okay.
I did want to say, if there's any, if people have any questions, they can bring forward to the committee meets once a month, there is a second reading. And the committee can discuss it and talk about those, or you can have a conversation with Mr. Ryder on an individual basis at all times to discuss it. That's just part of the report for any kind of policies that we do.
Nothing in this policy changes what happens today. So,
No, it has nothing goes into, a policy does not go into effect until the second reading has been approved.
We felt that we had enough time to read and respond. And then we're moving forward, the Senate is 50% of the policy moving forward through the final approval in November. So, and then have to vote for the last one, so that it's-
I also know that the district is dealing with dates that are coming from the state, where the mandates of either being vaccinated or being tested goes into effect by the 18th. So when that, I think, supersedes even our policies when an executive order comes forward. So that's, we're acting on what the executive order is. Our policy just covers how we regulate it and how we put that executive order in place.
I agree, but we also have that as an option to say yes or no.
I do agree that we can approve policy, but we cannot enact or make changes to executive orders. So we have to wear masks. We have to have policies in place. We have to put practices in place where our staff are vaccinated or prove a negative test. That's what the executive order is for. There are concerns from people about this or about those. We're a board of education that enacts on executive orders that come from the state. So you need, those directions need to go to them.
Yes, we, as Board of Education members, we are mandated by our code of ethics to adhere to the state guidelines. Okay, so,
There's a motion and a second. So hearing no more questions, comments, discussion, back to the call vote, please. Thank you. Let me do that one now.
let's do approve FO1, man, a second.
second,
Questions? Roll call, please.
okay, Donna,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
myself, yes, and Dave.
Yes.
Okay, great communication. I don't see any. Okay. There is public comment for agenda and non-agenda items. Okay. Hearing no request for public comment, we'll go for a motion, to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, thank you. And there's, 8:07. Thank you. Okay, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Good night, Don.
Yeah, no, that's good. So that's what, no, that's how I sort of get kind of.
No hay más, no sé.